chesed, to be able to speak for the Rabbim, such a large crowd. And I want to thank Torah Anytime, Kavashkacha Pratius, and Kol Loshen, and our Rabbi Gain, Rabbi Yosef Yavi Shlita, whom we owe so much to. He does such wonderful, wonderful work. He clears my desk for me whenever he takes good care of me. Now, I would like to say the following. I'm talking about a large oilam that I was zeicher to this week. We got a big oilam. Listen to this. We got a big oilam. Listen to this. I have a shtibel, and it's about 2 years old. A shtibel. I davened for it a little bit, but I didn't want to really get involved for various reasons. But sure enough, some of my chaver got together. They made a shtibel. Right after I davened, boom, things started happening. Now the shtibel was in like a downstairs basement type of situation, and one of those places. We used to have a leaking. We used to, half the times you came to the shtibel, you saw a pail with drip coming down. That's the Shalom Aleichem. You walk into my shtibel, now you know what we're all about. So, anyways, we're Novandig. You have to understand that. Novandig has different rules of what's chashiv, what's nice, what's presentable. Novandig has its own ways of looking at things. Okay, they are very normal, by the way. The Alta was a normal, put-together person. No, Reb Gershom was also, but they weren't tied down that you gotta have your steak, or else you can't eat nothing. They weren't tied down. That's the godless of Novandig. They're allowed to do everything everyone else does, but they weren't tied down. That you have to be a ganze, have everything. If you didn't have the comfortable bed that you used to, I can't sleep. Novandig could sleep anytime, any place, anywhere. But the light is shining in my face. So they didn't have none of that stuff. They were able to be very relaxed in Novandig. That's what they used to talk about a lot. You're allowed to dress nice and look like a mensch. In the world of Novandig, that is 100% legal. To be a mensch. They were all of them went with Hamburgs and frocks. They looked bechavadik. They looked distinguished. They looked menschlich. Every one of them. But if one day Reb Gershon couldn't find a hat to bench with, and he couldn't find his Hamburg, so he took on one of these hats that these Bachrim wear those days. The brim was about this big, It looked like one of those, like a pot. Hey, how you doing? It was like, he didn't care. He benched in that thing. I saw it. But, you don't have the regular hat? Take that. That's fine. He didn't care. He would do things. The Vardik, the pshat is, you're not restrained. You don't have boundaries. Tzias Mitzrayim, Meitzar means you can't move. Anyway, the Vardigas are always relaxed. Once one of the Vardigas had to bring money to Reb Chaim Oizer, and it was pouring, nobody ventured into the streets, and you couldn't get a taxi. A taxi meant a horse-drawn carriage. Couldn't get a taxi, couldn't get nothing. No, so we'll walk in the rain. What's the problem? So and I was gushing, and my clothes, so what's the problem? So it gets wet, I mean, my nafkamina. But your shoes will be sopping, so it'll be sopping. So I don't chop. In the Vardig, they had no tzimtzum. The Vardig, no tzimtzum. They would speak in public when they felt like, everyone was looking at me. They would dafka speak. That's what the Vardigas would do. They would dafka speak. That's the way they were. Anyway, break your tzimtzum. Don't be locked up, and don't be afraid of the whole world. What's he gonna say? This gonna say? I remember Chaim Halpin used to dance with his mechutonim in the middle. He wasn't like the mechutnas here. We've got to be on your good behavior. Mechutnas here, do a prat. Show you're not scared. What's a mechutten? So he's God, right? Who cares? It's all the same. Anyway. So now where am I up to? Stable. All right. So someone comes in, a very bechavedik yid, and like what he has a lot of money, he has a lot of this, from the big major Talmud Chacham. Everyone's after him, big name, and he sees me in the street. Now walking towards my stable, and it's Friday afternoon, and I come to my stable, and sure enough, they're looking for a minyan. And he comes in, and he walks in. First of all, he sees the pail, and he sees the water drip, and he sees he's a young kid over there looking for a minyan. We need a few chevra. We're looking for a minyan for mincha. So he looks at me. Aha! This is the Mandels. This is the famous Mandel. This is what your stable. I see you barely have a minyan. I look at him. I says, my dear friend, you think that we're here for a show, right? So you can go around saying, Mandel, he can't even get a minyan. Or Mandel, he's got a big oilam. Or Mandel, it's a beautiful place. They got coffee before davening. By you, it's all a show. A show, spielerei. Everything is, you're on the stage. What are people going to say is, oh, you guys, your brain is loaded with my yemru abrius. My brain is loaded with, what does the Eibishter have to say? I'm in a different world. In fact, when you come in and you see we don't have a minyan yet, and he was laughing at, Mandel, you don't even have a minyan. I said, in your books, there's a problem. In my books, this is my Elam Haba. So I can fob you, I can fob everybody. Who cares? Now a kid, 11-year-old boy, a sweetie, who comes to my shul, was once asked by somebody, I said, how many people do you have in your shul? You know what the kid said? That question is nothing more than Redifa Sakovet, an 11-year-old kid who comes to me. That question is nothing in there except my Yemru Habriyas. How does it look? How is it everything? Do you know how much you're going to suffer because your brain is loaded with my Yemru Habriyas? Your children, you know how much aggravation people have because my Yemru Habriyas. Let me ask you a silly question. I don't want to bust everybody's bubble. But do you get depressed or do you get happy when your neighbor is doing well? Like, how would you like to hear that, well, your kids aren't working out, so your neighbor's, he's a Matsuyan, he's not a Matsuyan, the daughter just married the best guy in yeshiva, and you climbing the walls, and one kid is a little funny this way, the other one's a little funny that way. No? How do you feel? How do you feel? Now, Novanega? He'd be rolling. Couldn't care less. He'd go around all day being happy with the other guy. He'd be so happy. The Eibishter has. So it's the Eibishter. Not me. How am I doing? How is he doing? How am I doing it? What is this competition? Competition, right? Everyone's competing. What are you, competitive sports? What's going on here? Competitive sports. You don't need families to compete. You need Bachram themselves at Beis Medrash. This guy screams louder than him. Oh, he's from the real guys. I want to tell you something. I once went over to probably the Arisha B'Chabura. By all accounts, he was an Ari. Oh, don't mess with him. I love the guy because he lives in learning. I really love him. I'll tell you why. Because he's Eon. All right, it's okay. You're allowed to be Vikis. I poke like that type. He hovers and learning. He sits and he sweats. I love it. Well, I once went over to this guy. I felt that I was having fun with him, telling him, I once told him how, it's great to be an Novandig. I respect you too. Learning Gemara Taisus is not bad. I mean, compared to Musa, you can't compare. I mean, it's of course, I'm into Musa, that's a different world. I mean, but it's also good. It's also horrible learning. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's accepted. I mean, in fact, it's encouraged. In fact, I bought my kid a Grizz for his Rambam for his Bar Mitzvah, because you get him into learning, and that's it. Yeah. I'm all the way for it. But you understand that I'm by far much better matzav. But it's fine. You're doing good. I'm proud of you. I once told him that, and he looked at me like, this he never heard since the day he was born. Like this. Well, how did this happen? Well, no, what's the problem? Okay, this he never heard since the day he was born. The guys are doing. I want to introduce him to different concepts. Sometimes you got to be a little broad. Like, there are 12 Shvatim. And by the way, I tell everybody just learn. Even though I'm Musa, I tell everybody just Rabbi and Rava. And don't bother me, Mendel, you're Musa. Of course, if you're a close friend of mine, I might speak a little different to you. And if I see there's hope for you, then I'll get you into the real thing. Baron Cutley came a whole week in New York. Whole week he was in New York, working day and night for Klal Yisrael. And he came home. As soon as he walked into Beis Medrash, Musa! And Musa he was fired for that half hour Musa. Rabbi, he needs Musa. You don't know enough? Do you need that too? Such a Baal Yerushalayim, there was no one like him, a Malach Alikim. Musa said what he did for Musa. Anyway, but I heard this, Eid mi pi Eid. Reb Gershon Liebman, Reb Chaim Hopper told me the story. That they wanted to schmooze with him. They said, it's Musa. The two big Novandigis wanted to schmooze with him. And I can't, I have to learn Musa. Okay, anyway. So he showed them. Isn't that interesting? You think you're the big Novandig, you're the big Musadik, and I don't learn Musa. Anyway. So what did I want to say? Where am I up to?
Shul.
Who?
Shul.
Yeah, the shul. Okay. So everything's a show, everything's a show by people. All says a show. Anyway, so this guy, I told him. So I felt a little bit, I hurt the guy a little. You got to watch what you're doing these days. I was kidding around. I rather wasn't kidding. In my world, I meant it. But I wanted to be Yishmak, He gets plenty of covered for being the Harish. Guy screams louder by far. No one starts up with him and I'm serious. He is good in learning. And he's real and he's horrible. I respect him big time. I love him. But, I had my fun. And I felt, watch out, Mendel. You never know, people. The next time I met him, I told him, and I meant it. Do you know, I enjoyed, when I see you learning, I have such pleasure, because you learn with such a knack. It is such a Kiddush Hashem. You don't know how happy. And I told him, there's only two other guys I ever said that to, one or two, and you're the second or the third. I can't do that. I once went over a rub here in Mlikeod. I love the way he learns. I told him to his face, I love to see you learn. By the way, it's a good matzah. There's nothing wrong with saying that. You're allowed to do it. It's such a prat. What's wrong with telling a guy I love the way you learn? That's my chiddush. Isn't that beautiful? Say it. Have an ayin tova for someone else. He's learning. Give him a pat on the back. I once heard of Hutnas, that's all. It was Sukkos. And there was a super masbid in Lakewood. They used to learn and I was there. It was on the roof. I think that those days it was Pitkin and stone. It was way back before Chaim Berlin moved to Far Rockaway. And it was a dump, Pitkin and stone. I don't care what was Slobodka. Pitkin and stone was Navadik. It was leaking all over the place. Don't ask. It was one of those real yeshiva. The Shechina was there, by the way. I thank the Rabbeinu Shalom I was in Pitkin. Our Houdah should have a big Gan Eden with Rabbi Miller, with all these Chaim Bolinas, so it should be gebenched. What beautiful it was. I loved it there. Walking the Beis Medrash, Shechina was in that Beyuch. I can't describe it. Pitkin and Stone, what they did to me, how thankful I am to the Yebishter for the time I was in Pitkin and Stone, Chaim Bolin, MRCB. It was a Amoliga bank, and the shmur was the president of the bank jumped off the roof during the Depression, boom, and the yeshiva got the building. That was a story, I don't know. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so... What? Yeah, he sees the masmid. Good. Glad you held up. Rav Hutner saw the masmid. And I heard him saying it in front of everybody. Jetzt lernst du Eichet Chaim. He made sure everyone should say, and he turned red. He had a whole island with him, Rav Hutner. He was passing by, I don't know what it was exactly. They were going to daven or whatever. On the roof, they had a, on the roof, I believe they had a sukkah, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't remember. I think that's what it was. Yes, Lance, he wanted to give him a plug. We'll all see you learning. I do that. Oh yes. If I'm there, when I'm in Beis Medrash, usually about 2, 3 in the morning, and I'm still learning, and I see a guy over there. You understand? Don't forget part 1 of the story. Oh, don't forget when I'm there at 2, 3 in the morning, and I see another guy learning. I don't fail to tell him. Now I see the masmidim. I do that. I love it. Why not? Bein Azmanim, you see a bacha sitting and learning. Now I see who the masmidim. I do that all the time. Why not? I got it from Rav Hutner. See, you get shimush, tamei chachamim. You find out what to say, what not to say. This is shimush. You know what it means? If a doctor gets internship, he's a doctor. If he didn't have internship, he doesn't know. He could read medical books till Mashiach. You got to be an intern. See it lamaisa. Watch another doctor. How do you do an operation? How don't you? What do you? What works? What doesn't work? You got to be lamaisa. Shemesh tamei chachamim. I watched big people. The jokes I make are built on our past. One of the most chashiv rabbanim in Gans Lakewood. He will even give me permission, but I still didn't get permission. He's not stam chashiv. He's probably whatever. He's number 1 or number 1 or number 2. I don't know. He's very big. I met him, and he says your stuff is all modern. You're being machanech a new dar with a whole new mahalach, and you are totally connected with the past, which is true. Even though I'm very new, but I'm very connected. I'm not looking for new stuff. This is our P to past. It's just, this is the way we got to do things. Anyway, so all my whatever. So he praised him, this person. Okay, now let's get back to this fellow. When I told him that I love to see you learn, he turned 10 colors. First of all, he wasn't used to this. I said, what happened? This guy's a lion, suddenly turned into a sheep. I promise you. In my life, I never saw him look like, I know him well. I see him all the time. That's the way he is. He's one of those. He's tough. But he's a wonderful person. But that's his Matthias. I'm also a little like that. But I think he's much more, but I steiged a lot. Oh. Anyway, I worked at this for years. They don't recognize me. But that's where he is, and mainly to keep us in learning. And he debates, he lets you have it, it kills you. He's good, he's plenty good. When I Bטחון weekly shilas, if it's a good vot or not, he's a great address. If he says it's good, it's good. Anyway, so he mamish melted. And I says, you look great when you're learning. He mamish didn't know what I was talking about. The man didn't chop. Everyone's burning with envy the way he learns, and he doesn't even realize what he looks like. That's him. He doesn't chop how people are so envious of the way he is involved in learning, and they're not like him. And look how people don't chop who they are. Isn't that something? People live a life, and the other guys all know, and you don't even chop. because the Yetzer Hara won't let you forget that you're a great guy. I have to chazit day and night that I'm a great guy. You believe me? I have to chazit day. There's so much voices going in the other direction. Last week you were better. Now it's already different. That guy didn't mean it. Right? You ever hear that one? Yeah, he wants to make you feel good. Or, it's true, but I'm still missing a lot, you know. All right, that's fair. But in these days, I don't know if it's fair. These days, I agree with you. I'm even better than what you say. Okay, now, last night, I'm going to tell you a story for the books. I didn't mean last night. I meant 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I promise this is a true story. I can't believe it myself. I got a phone call from a father. He got on the phone and he started crying. He has an 18-year-old son who cracked up. He was the biggest masber in the yeshiva, normal, wonderful bacha, a Metzuyin Gadol. And one day, out. He doesn't learn, he can't learn, he can't concentrate. He sits home all day and sits in his room alone. He made a remark to his father, Ta am ioif. Imagine, Achmanis. And the father gets on the phone and he starts crying to me. And I was overwhelmed. I couldn't deal with it. And I told him, I can't deal with your pain. It's killing me. I see how you feel. I can't deal with it. And I'm telling you like now, your boy is going to be cured now. He looks at me. What did you say? I said, as I talk, he is being cured. You don't believe me? You think I'm making jokes? In Novandik they taught me, Tumas Yeshodim Tanchem. Atomim! Tmimus! I once heard a shmooze for a Gershon, not about Bטחון. Tmimus, you're a tomim, you're stupid. You know how hard it is to be a stupid? The Alta from the Novandik and the Kotska both said the same word. You got to be such a pikeach to be a tomim. Put on those blinders like a horse and say it's going to happen and don't bother me with maybe not, maybe. And I'm a tomim, I work on it plenty. And I scream, like Rav Hutner said, when you're wrong, scream loudest the other way. That's what he used to say, Rav Hutner. Anyway, as I believe every word, positive word you say about somebody, as you talk, he is improving. I said it loud. I have no suffix. Why? By Hashem, that's hard. What are you you think I'm crazy? Wait. But one condition, you got to tell the whole world what a big Baal Mitzvah I am. Don't forget that. He'll start laughing. Now getting him to laugh is already kid. If the father laughs, the kid's already healthier. He thinks the crying is helping him. I say crying also helps. The Abisha sees the pain. Crying's going to work, but I prefer laughing. And my Rabbim taught me better to laughing. Laughing does much more. But whatever you did, that's the best thing. And he started laughing. I got him to stop crying. He dried his tears, and I started to make some more jokes. You know who you're called? Do you know my reputation? Do you know that since Adam Arishin, there never was a bigger Baal Mitzvah than me? And by far, I can do the Kriyas Yamso. I mean, I'm real. You know, I'm not one of these, I'm not a regular person. And he's sitting on the phone, he's on the floor. And I say, by the way, your laughing is helping your son. A cheerful father means a Beiteach father. Beiteach, I know a young man, he went through Gehenna with one of his teenage kids. He spent the year shutting his mouth and watching what the kid was. The kid was an expert in getting the father angry. Boy, was he good at it. He knew all the shtick that gets the father nervous. He was a mumcha. And he spent the year doing all the shtick he knew. And the father called me up. I says, you learn Sha'ar B'Tachon overtime. That's all you're in. Don't get near that kid. In 1 year, the kid made such a turnaround. He became the biggest knuckles in the family. And the father said he felt the rays of B'Tachon were entering the boy. It was chal. You know, B'Tachon is real. Thoughts are alive. There are live malachim entering the trouble area and changing it. You know that? He saw it happen in front of his eyes. And the kid kept testing him, and he kept, not a word. And 1 year, the kid, for the rest of his life, became, it's a long, old story, the kid's on nachas til shemayim. Now, where am I up to? So I told the father, as I talk, this guy's having a Yeshua. As I talk, now, go downstairs and tell the kids in the room. You tell me how he looks. Came back 2 minutes later, better. And don't just tell me better. I have bטחון much better. Yes or no? Yes, 100%. He looks much better. Okay, that's already part one. Well, I'm not finished with you. You called me up, I'm going to do a job. Then I started again telling him, I told my latest mifsim, boy do I have mifsim. I'm going to spell myself. I can't get over myself. I can't get over what a great Baal Mifis I have. How did you become such, you know, we saw Yankov, no, what was his name? Rav, the Dayan of Yerushalayim, Yankov Fisher. So Yankov, what was his name? So they say he once said that he's a spal, he's a spal from his Bekiyas. He was a murder Gabucky. You know that. He said, even I'm impressed with but he said it, you know, he was a Godel Yisrael, he was a Heilige Mensch. I knew him God a little bit. Anyway, so I'm also Nespal for me. I'm impressed like crazy with me. You know, other people also, but Chayecha Kaidman. I'm impressed like crazy. I'm so impressed with myself. I sit there all day admiring my greatness. I'm such a Godel. There's no one like me. And I'm getting better by the day, by the minute. It's not shayach. Thank the Eibishter. Eibishter, you created Ru Bria Shabarasi. I'm sure you're saying it all the time. In my case, overtime. Ru Bria Shabarasi, Misheshis Mebereshis. Was there ever Yudel Mendel? Never. Nowhere near my Madrega. I'm beyond. By the way, I'm going to tell you, all kidding aside, I believe that Rizal said that our door is a special door. I believe in that. And you have things no one else has. I believe in that. I don't make a joke out of that stuff. I don't care, Americana headies. You're not scaring me. This door is way ahead of everybody. That's what I hold. And I have riots. I don't want to talk about it now. The door is Meladik. And of course, now that we're talking about the greatness of the generation, let's zero in on the main players, the top of the tzaddikim of the dar. I'm right here, and here I am. Now I hold from everyone else, big time, but since Chazal say Chayecha Kaidman, I focus most of my energy of the greatness of human being on me. I've got to go first. Mitzvah Hashem, we'll get to Yaakov. Yaakov's sugar. This guy, anyway. You know what this is? This is the Baal B'tachon Weekly. The real, someone came over to me. I like Shores. His is the best. They love your stuff. They eat it up. I heard there was a machlekes in Kel Shimshon. What bracha to make on it? But everybody's masking it's Birkas Hananin. Like everybody held. There was a big machlekes. What bracha should we make on it? Anyway, listen to this. Where am I up to? Who?
Part two.
Yeah. I says, go back to your kid. And I pumped him up with B'tachon. He came back 2 minutes later. This is his Lashon. He's a total different kid. In 10 minutes. 2 stages. And I said, you want to spend some more time all night? You don't really have to. You could, he's on my mind. Don't worry for a second. I'll take good care of him. Listen, if you worked on yourself by being positive, you'll get schar. I prefer people should do that. But the door is, you know how many people come up to me, Mendel, I worked so hard, I've been talking about it. Okay. Bracha, done deal? I do that left and right, because what do you want for the poor guy? I worked and it's not working, okay. I tell him, learn Musa the way I learn Musa. You won't be talking like that. You learn Musa on B'tachon, you'll be just like me. You have to be Meiser Nefesh. You know what Mesiras Nefesh is? When you give up other things in Ruchnius that you prefer doing. Even in Musa, learn Bטחון. Spend overtime. Bטחון. Yeah, Bטחון has everything. Sit on it, write Ashkachas, put time, talk with the boss. The first thing you do when you come to daven, by the way, first thing in Shachris, what are you supposed to do in Shachris? Talk to Hashem. But that Shachris is not true. Shachris means talking in English before you open your siddur. Abel said, thanks a million for this hand. Thanks a million for this hand. Thanks a million for the breathing. That's the real tefillah. Okay, don't worry. Of course, you got to say the halukas. You got to be a yid. But in my books, before you open a Gemara, first get the Abishta on board. Talk to the Abishta. Thank you so much for creating me, of course. That's always the first thing. You got to chazer that constantly. You have 1,000 Yetzaharas telling you, yeah, you know what you did yesterday? You already fell. It's not the same Madregan. Yeah, and so. You already said something you shouldn't have said. And you did, you're in the garbage can. And the more they do that, Kasha Yanu, I say, the more they tell me I'm a jerk, the more I know for sure I'm a gadol. Now, it's a simon, in fact. Who told me this? It's a Mefurish Pasik. Kasha Yana is a Ken Yibba V'chen Yifreitz. Even Masa Bainim Aysel Reish Pina. Punkt Faked. I'm gewaldig. It's often a Zachem. It's all over the place. Adonabah. Anyway, the Zvila Rebbe told me this. That if you feel low and that stuff, it's a sign that you're great. Now, whoever's smart enough to believe that is going to become great. But if you're against a chacham that doesn't believe it, so stay in the garbage. You're gonna become as big as what you believe. It's a big yesayah. By the way, this thing was put out, Rabbi Metzger, one of my most sweetest, most lovely people. It's on Kedusha. If anybody's, it's meirik, take one or give them out. It's on Kedusha. It's half full of a fella. The Bali B'tachon are big into this stuff. The Maragas are more into. It's fine. It's mutalach. You're allowed to get involved in this stuff. It's great. And nowadays, you know how many calls I get for these things? It's all over the place. I just got a call today. Anyway, so take it, Rabbi, say you want. Say give him out. Oh, now he's got a new thing, a smaller one version. You want this one? English, whatever. There you go. Here we got more. And there's somebody sitting in this room who put out on Bezyonis. It's the best thing you ever read. Thing on Bezyonis, the guy who put it out is top. You gotta read it. He's gonna get back into business soon. Kedusha, everybody a bracha. Everybody should be zoich the ice madrigas. Okay. Anyway, what was I talking about? Where am I up to now? Yeah, that's Meridik, should I say? Mezidida. He's one of the greatest people we have. He put out Alon on Bezyonis. It's Meridik. Give him a bracha. He should finish that whole thing and make it kanak. The world's begging for this stuff. The people are afraid of Bezyonis 24/7. They should read it every day. When you got Bezyonis, God knows. I got Bezyonis. You know, you're not going to have so. Where am I up to?
The miracle.
What?
Story with
the guy with this miracle guy. Listen to this. The guy came back. He didn't believe it in 10 minutes. I says, look, we can spend another 10 minutes on the phone until your kid is. I think at this point, or I'll take care of him. Shane. The next day he calls me up. Son wants to meet me. And he said, he can't believe it. The kid's a different kid. How do you like that story? And do you ever hear such a meifus? The Rebbe's meifsim. By the way, the Abishter is also involved. Let's not forget that. You know, the Abishter is also involved, I hope. Now that means that you could do the same thing I could. A guy sitting right here, one of my chassidim here, a Sephardi guy, said, Mendel, I'm taking up on it, because I hold that all my Hasidim should all become Rebbes and do just what I do. And this guy said, Mendel, I'm taking up on it. A lady was giving birth, and it was a hard matziv. He gave a bracha. He used the Rebbe's nusach, like a chicken with an egg. He got a phone call 5 minutes later. It was a chicken with an egg. Is that something? 1, 2, 3. I told you the Maisa. I stick to that nusach. That's kach kibalti. Stick there. Don't go, because at one time I said a different nusach. It should be like a whistle. When I said that, I got a complaint. The guy sits over here. He comes here all the time, off and on, and he told me it was my wife, and it was too fast. The doctor missed the boat. Don't say whistle anymore. Just say chicken and egg. I promise you, this is true stuff. But the last chicken and egg, the guy told me, I promise you, she was in there for 2 hours, and in a second it was over, and she got out as if she hadn't given birth. How'd you like that one? Isn't that good? The Rabbeinu Shalom. And this, what he does for us, should spill over in Shidduchim. Tonight is the 27-year-old Rabbi Samet, who went with me to Plano, New Jersey, Plano, Texas. You see him already, Yada. You know, Vayisa Meshuga, Mimari Nachas Daraisa. I'm joking, but he came with me and he helped me. He really helped me. He was 27-year-old, and he wasn't getting married so fast. No, it wasn't. When he came back a month later, he was a chassan. How's that one? 27-year-old. Tonight's the chasana. So I have, at the last count, I have about 3 balagolas take me there. The shah is how we're going to do it. Maybe you can take me the first few blocks, and the other. I'm joking. Everyone wants to go with the Rebbe. You understand? Okay, how much money are you giving? I'm joking. Anyway, where are we up to? My class, did I tell you about my class? My class, and I insist what I did with that kid, anybody can do it. Just keep brainwashing yourself and stop putting yourself down with another psula. It's a chorban. Wait a minute. Do I have one of those little things? In 2 minutes, you're going to ask me to put. Well, let me see if I have one. Anyway, so, yeah, I got one. We're good. All right, so what happened? Boys in my class. So anybody can do this, I promise you. I promise. I know I'm a big tzaddik. We know. And I know I'm a big this and a big that. But I promise you, anybody can do these things. Get in touch with me. I'll teach you how to do it. We're going to get Amuna Bטחון. Maybe he wants to help. He loves us to pieces. He wants to do much more. He wants to do Yitzias Mitzrayim for us. He wants to do Gula Shlema. He loves us to pieces. We don't care what Averis you did. He loves you more and more, and he's going to help you do tshuva. Don't worry. Be about Maifas like me. Join the club. Anyway, I'm not competing. I don't believe in the competition business. We're all the same. When I had another Rebbe gives a Maifas, I'm proud of him. I can't imagine he should be better than me, but I'll be. But here comes the stories. Now, this is Hafla of a fellow. I'm a Rebbe, and I spent the whole year. I teach Mishnayos. It's my specialty. I do have a few things I'm known for. I tell stories. The kids love it. The Vardiga stories. Then Tanakh with Chazal, the David Amel stories. The kids, they love it. Then I do another thing. I learn Mishnayos. I must have learned 10, 15 Masechtas on the side that they're not responsible for. I have a way of doing it. The kids love it. They say they'd rather be there than night activity. And this is going on all year. It's just beautiful. 15 Masechtas, the kids, and they have Yediyas and delicious Avodah Zarah and Kedushin and all these beautiful stuff. Each Masechta has its own beauty. The end of the year, what did you like the best? One kid liked the Mishnayos, one kid liked the stories, one kid liked the chocolate, one kid liked the extra recess. Each kid, what did you like about this year? One kid gets up, I like the Musa the most. I said, what's that all about? As if I didn't know. But still, you know what you did to us, Rebbe? We're getting along with our siblings because of you. We do our Tov b'malkam akpadi. You gave us colorful pens to give the guy you hate the most in your family. And when I'm angry at my mother, I tell him, Ma, you're the best mother. When I'm angry at my father, I tell my father, you're the best father. You learned this, how to say I'm wrong even when I'm right. Like David Amal told him, and he still said he's wrong. We do that. We give in. We think before we do things. We have more self-control. We're close to Hashem. We talk to Him. We're into Musa. I says, how many boys agree with that boy that this was the best thing happened all year? The whole class unanimously. Little 9-year-old kids know Musa is everything. But look at those Mishnayos and Musa. Little kids know the truth. And look at the difference. You can breathe. You're a mensch. You can finish Shas and learn Be'iyun and B'di. You can. I hope you do, by the way. Don't you stop doing that. Shem Yirachem. A Gemara is a Musa Sefer. Don't make away with that. Chas v'chalila. And you can do tzedakis and take this. Where am I going? All the mitzvahs you want. Diktukam mitzvahs mitol chumras. Do anything you want. But your body will not accept a man that doesn't work on his midas. You'll find out. You're nervous. There's a reason you're nervous. You have kinna, you have anger, you have hakpadis from who knows what. You have all the inferiority complex. That's also midas. Don't ask. Superiority complex, all that stuff, better, worse. All midos. In the Nובהרדוק, no? I should start. What, I'm taking this?